Hi, happy Friday. Bethany here with Caterpillar, and it's a Friday live, and it's a Friday before a holiday weekend. So I thought we'd do something a little different today and do something a little more crafty. I know I usually do the sewing, sew-alongs, but I'm feeling a little crafty today. So hi, let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. Melody is in the background, so say hi to Melody in the chat. She's tuning in from Salt Lake City, Utah, and we're gonna have some fun today. So we're doing something a little different, as I mentioned. But before we dive into what we're making, and I have multiple examples to show you to give you lots of inspiration. I've been making these fun signs for, I don't know, 5 years now, and I literally just took one off my front door to show it to you. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. Real quick, if you didn't know, and I have it scrolling across the bottom of the screen, it is still going, our Memorial Day sale, where you can get 25% off all of our Caterpillar products on the website. That includes individual products and it includes our bundles, which is pretty fantastic because our bundles are already discounted. So you actually get more than 25% off if you use that code with a bundle, but you can use that code on anything. So it's Memorial Day 25. So do not forget to use that if you are purchasing anything or treating yourself over the holiday weekend, setting yourself up for some fun crafting over the summer. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. I'm so excited to see you all here. Hi. All right. So if you have some fun plans for the Memorial weekend, please let me know in the chat and make me a little jealous. I have nothing planned. I have absolutely nothing planned for 3 days, and I don't really know what to do with myself. So I feel like I should have planned to do something, but I didn't. I've been too busy to even think about the next day. So let me know what you're doing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to sew. Let's be real. Who are we kidding? But today I'm going to craft. You want to see what we're making today? Felt like we'd do something a little patriotic. So these fun wood signs are always really cute. I love putting these on my front door, my back door. I have on all my doors, and I've gifted these to friends. And I used to sell these actually when I used to do vendor shows, and I had a pet boutique, and I had ones that were pet themed. But today I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm not going to go through the process of cutting heat transfer vinyl with a cutting machine. I did that off air because that big machine that I have is in my studio, my other crafting room. But I am going to give you my tips on weeding it using our glow boards and tips for pressing. By the way, this is heat transfer vinyl, not adhesive, not a sticky back. It's heat transfer. And I'll give you my best tips on that. And then I'm going to show you how to make my infamous 8-loop bow that are so pretty, and they turn out perfect every single time. And honestly, I wish I could take credit for this, but my mom taught me how to make bows, and she's the queen of bows. She's been making bows my entire life. But here's a couple of examples. Now, the designs that I have used, I got through my own software that I use for my cutting machine. So go find one that you like. There's so many different. Look for an SVG, which is a cut file. And so here's a couple of patriotic examples. The one that I'm using today is a little different, so we're going to change it up. Let me see. I'll go ahead and show you these. This one's one of my favorites. Melody, you might like this one. Welcome-ish, depends on who you are. She's giving me a thumbs up. Melody, I feel like this one suits your fancy right here. Louise says she's celebrating her granddaughter's 21st birthday. That's so fun. Late hubby, retired Army. Thank you for his service and your family sacrifice. My fiance is also in the Army Reserves right now. And so we definitely love to celebrate these holidays in our military. Let's see here. Here's another one. I put this one out at football season because I do live in Tennessee. I'm an SEC football fan. I did go to the University of Tennessee, and I will always sing Rocky Top. So I do love to celebrate. So this is another fun idea. Like, you could make one of these for your favorite sports team. I need the welcome-ish sign. This one, the welcome-ish sign, Jana, I actually just designed this right there in my software. So if you have a Cricut or any sort of cutting machine like that, a Silhouette. I use the Singer Momento cutting machine. I actually helped develop and launch that machine. So it's my baby. So I use that program, but you can use whatever program to design your own stuff. Put your own words in there. And then here's one more I'm going to show you. This one I put out in the fall. Tennessee, little mountains and sunrise and the trees and everything. So just fun vibes. I think these are so fun. Now I will share, I make my own wood rounds. Fun fact, I actually do a lot of woodworking. I used to do it a lot more than I do now. So I make and cut my own wood. This is actually just plywood. And I use router and bandsaw and all those fun tools to make these rounds. And then I edge them and sand them and everything and stain them and seal them before I ever design on them. But you do not have to do that. You could absolutely go to a craft store and pick up some of these. Theirs are a little thinner than mine. Mine are pretty thick. And then I do drill some holes in the back of mine, and I just use this fun rope. But you could hang yours with ribbon or whatever you want. Mine are a little on the heavy side because I do use thicker, heavier wood. But I like doing it because I can. But you don't have to. When I was selling these, it was more cost effective for me to make them myself. So hello. I think everybody likes that welcome-ish sign. I mean, it is a fan favorite. I do put it on my back door mostly from time to time when people just pop in. So anyways, we're going to dive right into this project, but do we have nothing planned means more time to catch up on projects that have been put aside. Jana, that is exactly what I need to do. I have a long laundry list of projects I have started or have sitting there waiting to get started. Sometimes no plans are the best plans. I couldn't agree more, Rhonda. So much room for activities when you don't have your calendar full. And I'm so used to my calendar being full that it's kind of a breath of fresh air. Okay, so are you guys ready to dive in? All right. So first of all, I went ahead and cut, as I mentioned, my heat transfer vinyl on my cutting machine because it is in the other room. It is too big. I have the Singer Momento, which is a 24-inch cutting machine. It's a big mamma jamma. I love it. It's my baby. I literally, like I said, last year I helped spent years developing, helped launch some product last year. So it is a personal favorite of mine. I do have some of the other like Cricut machines and stuff like that. So whatever machine that you have, you can use heat transfer vinyl. We're going to use heat transfer vinyl. Now, some people think I'm crazy for doing heat transfer vinyl on wood, but I find that it actually adheres really well. And then I don't know about your house, but in my house, the front door gets the afternoon sun and it is a brutal beating and it gets very hot. And so another reason why I like to make my own signs is I seal them and then I do my heat transfer vinyl. I don't put another sealant on top of the vinyl. That's enough. And then because it's heat transfer vinyl, it becomes one with the wood grain and it doesn't seem to bubble and peel like an adhesive vinyl would. Now you could use an adhesive vinyl if you want. If you don't want to use a heat transfer vinyl, you don't have to. Just know that it will more than likely lift a lot faster than a heat transfer vinyl will because heat transfer vinyl is meant to take the heat. Whereas adhesive vinyl that's like a sticky paper, it will bubble in the heat. So just keep that in mind depending on if you have a front porch and it's covered, it's probably not a big deal. I do not. So it gets the sun on the front of the house. The one on my back porch, the back door, it doesn't really matter. So I could totally use just an adhesive vinyl, but I like to swap them around. So I just do them all the same. All right. So I have already cut out my design and I'm just using a white vinyl. You could use whatever color you want. You could layer colors if you wanted to get really creative, but I like to keep it simple so that it's easy to read from the street. Especially that welcome-ish one. I want to make sure that message gets across loud and clear. All right, so you may not be able to tell that I've already cut the design in this. Yeah, it has been cut, okay? And so it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of hard to weed. And by weed, I mean that's the process of removing the excess vinyl around the design. And that's where the light board comes into play. So the first thing I like to do, and I'm going to go to my overhead camera. The first thing I like to do is get it started in one of the corners. Let's see if I can get it going here. There we go. And I just kind of, before I turn the light on, I just kind of separate and pull away the bulk of the excess. And then I'll show you how the light comes into play for getting all those little in-between pieces. Well, this backing is super sticky, but this vinyl is so nice. So I use a couple different brands of heat transfer vinyl, but this is Caesar. It looks like Sizer, S-I-S-E-R, but it is actually pronounced Caesar, like the Caesar salad. And I've heard people call it Sisser and all these other names too, but it is Caesar, easy weed. And you'll see it's very easy for me to just weed this apart. It's like a thinner material. It's very soft and has a really pretty matte finish, which I actually really like. But they also make really good like glitter heat transfer vinyl, which glitter would be super fun, especially if you were to layer it. So just know like there's a lot out there, but this is one of my favorite heat transfer vinyl brands. But there's quite a few out there. And the higher the quality of the vinyl, the better end result. So if I can advise you to anything, don't buy the cheap stuff off Amazon. It will not want to work as well. And you want something that's going to adhere to just about anything. And this stuff will stick to wood. So it is really, really good. This is the same stuff that you can put on a t-shirt. My hand likes to stick to it. There we go. Now, once I get this outside border and all of this extra off, which I am done, see, comes off really easy. Now I'm going to use my magnets. So remember, I'm using the Premium, the new Glow Premium 2 light board. And once I turn it on, there we go. It starts at the brightest setting, which is perfect. And it has those built-in magnets. And that's when I'm going to use my magnets to hold it down as I finish weeding the rest of the design. So the hard part to see when weeding is in between the letters. And I'm going to see if I can zoom in. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but I can try. Let's see. Where's my zoom? There we go. Can you kind of see how you can see like I couldn't see that with the naked eye before I turned the light on. And I'm going to show you. Like that's without the light. You cannot see those cut lines to pick out all those little pieces. But when you turn it on, now I can see all those little pieces. You've got to get those out or else your design is not going to look right. See, just like that. This is probably my favorite part about using vinyl, whether it's heat transfer or adhesive, is doing the weeding. Some people love it, some people don't, but I find it so satisfying and enjoyable, especially with the right tools. People who have probably not enjoyed it in the past probably didn't have a light board to help them see all of these little details. So let me see if I can show you down here. I've got, now you do need a little tool to pick out these little pieces. And there's a couple of different types of tools that people have. Some people have this little kind of basic weeding tool. This is a Cricut one. I am using what's called a pin tool, and it looks like a regular pin, so it's really easy to hold, but it's got like a little needle in the end. And so it gets these little fine tip points, like detailed pieces really, really nicely. And so it's my preferred tool. Like I said, I have been doing vinyl work for probably 15 years at least. I think I had the original Cricut before there was ever a Design Space and you had cartridges. Anybody remember those days? The OGs. Let's see here. We're almost done. Now these tiny little pieces down here, these are little. Let's get these. Here's one. It just makes the process go by so much faster. And once you press this on to anything, whether it's a shirt or wood or whatever, like if you left a centerpiece in one of these letters, it's there. Like you're not getting that back out once you've pressed it. So just know that it's so important to make sure that we've gotten all of this weeded out really well. And a little fun tool that I have, I don't know where I got this. Probably online somewhere, but it's like a little catch-all for your weeding. So as you weed and you just slide it through these little flower pieces, it pulls it off the end of your weeding tool, and it's just a little suction cup. So I can just stick it to my light board where I'm working, and this is just makes it so much easier. Let's see here. I still have an original Cricut in the box. Did you ever take it out of the box and use it, Rhonda? I don't have mine anymore, and I kind of wish I did. I have several from versions from over the years, but I finally just had to purge some stuff, right? So I'm going to take this off and flip this around. Like, magnets are so strong, and you want to use the magnets because you don't want this to curl up on it. That would not be a good idea if this, because this is so sticky, it would really mess it up. So once you're ready to put this on your wood, but let's just do a quick little check. I don't see, now check for me, double check for me, stars and stripes forever. That's the design I'm going for. Do you see any things that I missed? I still only have the cartridge Cricut. Wow, that's amazing. But look at this. Never out of the box, Rhonda. You got to keep it at this point. That is an antique. All right, so I think I got all the pieces. It looks like I got all the pieces. I always like to just double check and flip it over. Now, this is the top side now. Remember, I weeded it from the back side. When you cut heat transfer vinyl, you always need to mirror your image and cut it on the back side because this little clear sheet is our protective clear layer. So I'm going to actually turn my light board off and set it aside. And this is the battery operated one. So I have no cords. I can easily move it right out of the way when I'm done. It's such a good light board. And I'm going to bring my wood sign up here. Oop, I didn't mean to kick my camera there. All right, so I have my wood sign with the little holes. And, you know, because I use real wood and, you know, sometimes I'm going to have some blemishes, and that's okay. But because I've got my design here, I'm just, y'all, I'm not the, some people get on to me about this. My mom definitely is one of those people. She would sit here and measure and center and everything, and I just kind of eyeball it. I will say I always tend to bring stuff more towards the bottom because we're going to put a big old bow right here. So we don't want to cover up what it says, and then we can use the sticky of this to center it. Not too bad. I think I did okay. Pretty good. Let's see here. Where am I going? There we go. Ta-da! I mean, I don't stress about it. I just, like I said, I eyeball it. Now, the next step is going to be using some sort of mini heat press, and I like to use a mini heat press because it's nice and flat on the bottom. And it allows me with this point to really kind of get in there. Do not use an iron. That would be my number one tip when you are doing heat transfer on here, is to not do use an iron on it. Is the star on top okay for being over the hole, like right here? Well, this wasn't too much of a hole. There's actually more of a hole right here. We'll see. I did not have this turned on because I wasn't planning on pressing it, but I'll show you a little bit of it, and then I'm going to sit aside. I already pressed one. It does take a few minutes to press this, and you do have to apply some pressure. But what you'll notice here, and I'll zoom in when I do it, is, and then hopefully you'll be able to see it on camera with this, but as you start pressing this, you'll see it kind of bubble, and that's where it's lifting off of this clear sheet and sticking to the wood. And so when you see that lift, you know you're getting a good adhesion. Okay. So it should be okay. It may be a little loose right there. It's okay. That's the joy of handmade items. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. So this is still heating up, but it doesn't take long. I do turn it to the highest setting. This is that little Cricut one, but whichever one you have, just kind of keep an eye on it. You don't want to leave it in one spot. I keep it moving. So I'm just going to go ahead and start pressing. So because I make my own wood signs, mine are not always like perfectly flat. If that makes sense, because it's not perfect like fake wood, it's real wood. So there's going to be some unevenness and stuff, and that's okay. This is, again, why I like to use heat transfer vinyl, because it is softer. It will kind of mold to it. I don't know if you can see that right there, but it is doing a little bubble action, and that's good. You don't want to leave it in one spot for too long. You do want to, I'm applying pressure here with my hand. I do have to kind of switch my hands back and forth, and I just kind of keep it nice and flat. And I kind of work from one end to the other. So usually from the top down, or left to right, whichever you want to do. But I work my way around in that pattern, because I want to make sure that this is staying nice and flat. And that little beep was just letting me know that this is fully heated up, but it was already doing a good job pressing it down. So I guess we'll go ahead and do this one too. Once I start, it's kind of hard to stop. You see, I'm just kind of directing it to lay flat. And once I go over it once, I can go over it again. There we go. So everything's kind of been pressed over once, and I'm just going to kind of take a few minutes to give it another good little press. You do not want to press too long, because you don't want to burn or scorch the vinyl. And sometimes these little letters, you really kind of have to just really kind of say, hey, stick really good for me, and use the point of that. Oh, I just hit the button and turned it off. But you want to use that little point to really get into some of those spots, especially if you've got any sort of unevenness. So I like to kind of come at it from a few different angles and directions to make sure I'm really catching not just here, but like down here and everything. So let's see here. We should be good pretty soon. Let's make sure this is like one of those little knots in the wood. We want to make sure it's going to stick there, or at least enough to where it won't lift. Let's see. It looks like fun. I need to try this. I do my own woodworking also. Oh, that's awesome, Diana. I love woodworking. I grew up with a mom who sews and a dad who does woodworking. So I always had, between the two of them, a sewing room and a wood shop to go hang out in. And I picked up both hobbies and crafts, and I still go over and use my dad's wood shop. They live like 3 miles from me. And so my fiance does a lot of woodworking. He probably uses it more than I do these days. But let's see here. Now I am going to zoom out real quick. When I go to peel this clear sheet, I always start at from one of the angles. I don't pull straight down or left to right. I kind of go at an angle, and I go nice and slow. And depending on the vinyl you're using, some will pull better while it's still warm like this, and some will pull better once it's cooled completely. So check the instructions with your vinyl, or as you start to lift, if you see it's still lifting, but you know you've pressed it really well, let it cool first. This one actually does better when it's still warm. And I just take it nice and slow, keep pacing my eye back and forth to make sure nothing is lifting, especially with these little letters and stars. There we go. Voila! And then this little sticky sheet can go right in the trash. I just like fold it over and stick it in the trash. Now I do go one extra little step, and I take a little piece of parchment paper, and I take this and I go ahead and turn this off, and I just do a quick little pass. If there was any lift at all during the removal of that clear transfer sheet, this just kind of secures it back down. Just a quick little press. And that's not going anywhere. How about that? That looks so nice. And remember, you can buy your own wood rounds and paint them, stain them. Now, if you do paint them, you're going to want to seal it because the paint might bubble up. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That's why I always stained mine, and then staining the letters just really pop nice. Okay, what do we think so far? Are we enjoying today's craft? I mean, that was fun. And I already had another one that I made. So now I have 2. So I guess I'll be gifting one to a friend or neighbor or my mom. But yeah, these are cute. So let's make bows. You ready to make some bows? Now, as I mentioned, I have already pre-drilled holes in mine. I typically use a rope, and I got a huge spool of this from a hardware store. Um, that's what I use. And I would just slide it through, tie a knot, and then put it through the other way and tie a knot and make it as long as I wanted. Not too long. I pretty sure the roll of this, if I have any left, is at the wood shop. So I don't have that to show you today, but you can use other things, other ribbons, other ropes, other twine, just something strong enough to hold up your sign. Bows, do you cut them? Let's see here. Now I want a cutter so I can play with HTV. Yeah, heat transfer vinyl is a lot of fun. I use it on shirts and everything too. So let's see. Oh, I'm so glad you guys love it. Your package is ready to ship. I hope it's my light accessory kit. Louise, I can tell you that they have hit our warehouse and they are being processed. So it more than likely, if that's what you ordered recently, you just got an email with your confirmation that your package is going out the door. That's probably what it was. So that's exciting. Congratulations on that. We just found that out. I think they came through yesterday or today or something like that. So super exciting. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to show you how I make my bows. I do use a wired ribbon. So I have a few fun ones here. I don't have very much of this one left, which is the one that I used on this sign. How cute is that? So I'm going to maybe incorporate it a little bit, but I also have this one. I was shocked at the amount of Patriotic ribbon that I had. So I'm going to start with this one because I have the most of it. And you need a wire ribbon for this. Now this one has a wire, but it's not in the edge. It's more like in the sides right here. That's totally fine. Whereas this one's like right into the edge. That's fine as well. And this one also has a wire. It's in the edge. It's a more narrow. So you can mix and match. You can do a more narrow ribbon, but I personally prefer the wider ribbon. These are, let's see here, 2.5-inch wide. I'm pretty sure I picked these up at like Hobby Lobby. This one may have been from, we have a place here in town. What is it called? Old Time Pottery. And sometimes they'll have ribbon there and I'll like stock up on ribbon. I have a whole ribbon wall in my sewing room. So I hope it is yours too. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make my bows. So I call it the 8-loop bow because we're going to make 8 loops around. And your starting point is totally up to you, however big you want to make it. Let me see how big this is. I usually just kind of eyeball it. But let me get my mat out and I can give you an actual measurement of what I'm doing today. So I start by folding it over, and my first fold, make that first fold 10 inches. Is that? I had it at like 11.5. Or that's like 10.5. Yeah, 10.5. That'll work. So my first fold over is 10.5 inches. And again, the bigger, the loopier, right? And I'm just going to continue to fold this over 8 times. So that was 1, 2. I do kind of creased a little. 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you can do as many as you want. You could stop at 6. You could do 4. Just know that it's going to change the fullness of it. That was 6, right? That was 6. This is 7. I should really not talk while I'm counting. And this is 8. All right. So there's the 8 folds. And I'm just going to cut this even with that last fold. There we go. So there's my loops, my folds. Okay. What I do next is I fold this in half just a little bit, and I kind of pinch at that fold, and that tells me the halfway point. I'm actually going to switch to my overhead camera now. There we go. So I folded it in half and I got my halfway point here and here, and I kind of do a little pinch. So I know where the center is, which is right here. And I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut into there like a little triangle at the center. There we go. Just like that. Do you see that? Okay, I'm going to do that on both sides. There we go. All right, so I have my little notches cut out of both sides. Now I'm going to take another piece of this ribbon, or, you know, I could incorporate another ribbon. So I think I'm going to do that because I've actually never done that. So we'll see how this goes. And I usually take it and line it up. So I do like 2 folds. I don't want my tails to be too long. If they're too long, they cover up the words. There we go. So what I did is I just folded this double the length, and now I'm going to open that back up. And actually, let's find the center here. We'll make this a little more accurate. There we go. There's the center. So my little pinch lines up with my little notches. Okay. So it's going to look like that. Now, typically in the past, I would use pipe cleaners, and I would find one that kind of matched like a red or a blue or something. But I could not find my pipe cleaners to save my life today. So I found this little wire. It may be from like the bread, or I don't know. It's a little something, but I'm going to use this to wrap around the center. So if you have floral wire, if you have a pipe cleaner, if you have some of these little twist ties left over from your, you know, toast bread bag, you can use those. I think this one actually came off of like a cord that was electric, like a tech thing, cord wire loop thing. I prefer the I personally prefer what is it called? I just said the word. Pipe cleaner, because they're longer, so it's easier to wrap around and get tight, and you can go around it a couple of times. But I just kind of pinch it together and make sure I twist it really tight, and that secures it. With a pipe cleaner, you would just trim off the tail. So this is what it looks like from the back and from the front. And now is the fun part. You're just gonna go through and pull out your loops. The trick is one goes to the right, and then the other one goes to the left. This one will go, it's to my right. And then this one will go to the left. And then this one will just open up towards the right. So that kind of opens up that side, and see how it's starting to form. And then we'll flip it over. And so this one's kind of going this way. So I'm going to go to the right first. And because we created those little notches, we're able to kind of really pull and twist and get them, you know, really to fill out. So we'll play with it a little bit, but I like to separate them first. This one will go to the left. Don't be afraid to like kind of yank on them. They're not going to come apart. We've secured them pretty good. All right, so there's that. So we've got a good sized little bow going here. And this is where you just kind of have to, what I like to call, or what my mom would always say, you got to zhuzh it. You got to zhuzh your bow. There we go. Now this little tail in the middle, we're going to trim it so it has a nice little clean end, just like that. And there's another one around here. Here it is. We'll do that one as well. You can do them in a point like this and cut out a little triangle. You could do them at an angle. It's your personal preference. But this bow is really kind of coming to life here. What do we think? So far, so good. These back pieces right here, I make it look easy, Marie, because it really is easy. I promise. If you do that, do that little method, and you have to use wire ribbon. A non-wire ribbon would fall flat. And wire ribbon is very forgiving because let me tell you, all of those little wood signs that I showed you at the beginning of this live, all of those have been hanging from coat hangers in my laundry room, and they were all squished and smashed, and I just had to fluff up the bow. So I promise it's very forgiving. Now this bottom little tail, I'm going to kind of take it here and just twist them so that they come down. And now I have my pretty little bow. So fancy. You really can't mess it up. But before I trim these, I like to put it on my wood sign. Now, I should have turned this on already. Well, let's see how quickly my little glue gun likes to heat up. Any questions? I am using my tempered glass mat because it is not just for ironing on. It is great for using your hot glue gun because you know how it likes to drip down, and then we don't want to mess up my table. So never master bow making. We'll try this for sure. Once you make one, you're going to be like, oh, I mean, look how nice this is going to look at the top. It's going to look so nice. Look at that. So my little trick is two things. I like to do a little dab of hot glue to secure it exactly where I want it. And then I go in with the big guns. I go in with my big old staple gun. This is meant to use with wood. This is not your home use office stapler. And so this one, you know, I like to use this one. I just use a dab of glue and then I secure it with this. Part of the reason I do that is so if someone were to want to change it out or refresh the bow, maybe the bow got faded from the sun or whatever, taking out the staples doesn't damage the wood and it lifts right out pretty easily. You just use a little flathead pliers to kind of loosen the staples. A glue gun, I just use a little dab, but if I used a lot of glue, it would really mess up the wood. So we'll be using that. This looks great, and I don't have to buy a fancy bow maker. No, I've never had a fancy bow maker. These little hands right here, that's your fancy bow maker. That's all you need is 2 hands. All right, so I'm just gonna I like to put the glue on the bow instead of on the wood. Well, yeah, there we go. That way I can get it exactly where I want. Like I said, I just do a little bit in the center. Let that drip over there. And I like to put it at the top. Just give it a little press right in the middle. And fun stuff with these wires is like we can really bend and shape after we cut these. So it'll be really cute. I actually love that I did 2 tones, 2-tone ribbon. I think that really I can't believe I've never done that before. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go in. Hopefully it isn't too loud for you guys, but I like to just kind of slip in here. Where do I want this? Yeah. Ooh, just a little one here and there. You don't need many. But I will tell you, the reason I started using this hot glue gun also is because, like I said, my front door gets blazing hot. Like you can't touch the doorknob on the inside. The outside gets so hot. And so the hot glue would melt and my bows would fall off. So we staple. There we go. That's not going anywhere. I don't even think I need another one. There we go. Oh, got my bow. And now I can zhuzh a little more and trim these ends. And we are done with our fun little sign. How cute did this turn out? This is going to be the one that I put on my front door as soon as the live is over. Look at how cute. Now I don't have my rope, but I still can access the holes right here to be able to attach it. But now that's a big bow. She's a big bow. She's She's big. You may want to start with a little smaller. But I mean, the bigger the bow, the better, right? There we go. I think that turned out super cute. That just took a few minutes. I mean, that's impressive. I would pay for that at the store. I mean, come on. So if you're looking for something that you can maybe sell at a vendor show or something, these are super fun and so easy to make. And definitely use heat transfer vinyl. It'll hold up so well to the weather. And I hope you are inspired to give this a try. I hope you learned how to make a bow. Hope you saw just how easy that light board makes using any vinyl, whether you're using heat transfer vinyl or adhesive vinyl or any type of vinyl. It makes weeding it so much easier. You know, the hardest vinyl to weed is glitter vinyl, like any sort of glitter vinyl, but especially glitter heat transfer vinyl. It's really thick, and because it's so glittery, it's impossible to see where your design was cut. It almost looks like you didn't cut anything. And using a light board is a must. And before I had light boards, I was holding it up to a window. So anyways, there we go. What does it say? Can't get over how quick it was for you to put that together. It really is, Louise. It really is that easy and that fun. Let's see here. I have this one too. I may find another ribbon for this one that I have from my stash and mix it up and make two different ones with two different ribbons. You could have done something where you did like this on your big bow and like a skinnier, tail instead of the wide tail that I did. You could do 2 layers of tail. I could have done another layer of tail and had a skinny tail that was shorter and a longer tail. So, I mean, it's totally up to you. I think next time I'll probably make the bow, instead of starting with 10.5 inches, I may start with like 9 because she's big. She's a big girl. But you can see here, this one's a little squished. This was a skinnier wire ribbon. It was the only orange and white checkered ribbon I could find. So it's just a small little something. I mean, you could add greenery behind this, some fake eucalyptus leaves or plants or whatever that you like. But all of my ribbons have been through the ringer. They have definitely been squished and flattened. Like I said, I made some of these 3, 4, or 5 years ago. But you just, like I said, zhuzh the bow. For the size of the bow difference. Yeah, I guess I should have started a little smaller. Personal preference. I don't hate this though. But if I had a bigger design like this, I probably would need to do a smaller bow than, like, say, this one. So, yeah, hope this inspires you guys. Don't forget, we still have our Memorial Day sale happening. Memorial Day 25 is the code. You can get 25% off all the tools that I use today, like our premium glow light board, which was an absolute must for today's project. And it's battery operated, so I can use it anywhere. And I don't have to plug it in, which is wonderful. And it's really, really bright, has a built-in magnets, which made weeding that vinyl so much easier. I also use our glow tempered glass mat, perfect for it. Look, it's dripping. And that's just, once it dries, it'll pop right off of there, and that mat is good to go. So anyways, I hope this helps you guys. Hope you had fun today with me. I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend. We have some exciting news happening next week. If you haven't already heard, we are officially launching our June Handmade Collective virtual event. If you were around for the March one, you know how amazing that was. We have all been working very hard in the background to make this June one even bigger and better. We have even more presenters and brands this time than last time. I think we have 5 more than we did before. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have so much fun. So if you are not subscribed to our newsletter, hop over to our website, scroll all the way down to the bottom right corner, sign up for our newsletter, because we are going to be announcing all of that and all the extra bonuses that we've been working so hard to make it an even better experience. It truly is like my favorite things about expos and in-person classes and retreats and all of that, like taking all of those things and bringing them to you from the comfort of your home. I cannot wait. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have the best time. So if you have any other questions, just let me know. Hope you have a great, fun-filled, wonderful, safe holiday to enjoy. Thank you, Millie. I hope you do too, and I hope everybody else watching does as well. Again, thank you guys for being here and spending your Friday with me, and go have fun and be safe, and I'll see you next week.